Hey, what's going on, Downtown Mafia? It's your boy, Gambit the Invincible, also known as Show Nuff. You know how I do. I'm back for a third one. And this one right here, we're going to discuss arming up properly and mobbing up properly because they both pretty much intertwine with each other. Before I begin, you know I got to give my shout out. Shout out to devs. Since I've been doing these blogs, they've been giving me feedback and letting me know that what I'm doing, that they support it. So that lets you know that when you guys get ready to do the same thing, they support your move as well. I just want to say shout out to the newfound friends. Shout out to the my ex-farmers who've been mobbing up with me since earlier today with these blogs and everything I've been posting. But let's get into the subject of what this blog is about. Once again, I do want you guys to realize that I'm not doing these blogs for the 100 diamonds, which is why I'm breaking them down into sections with subjects, so you know that I'm talking real. You're not going to hear me repeating too much of the same things in every blog. Each blog is for something different, for a new experience, and for a different attribute to help you with the game as you go along in Downtown Mafia. I want to say when arming up, I'm going to use examples, all right? Because it's really hard to explain arming properly and mobbing properly without using examples. So we get let's say a person has about 600 mobs. A person has 600 mobs, and they are at level 100, which is good. That's good. At level 100, you should have at least 500 mobs because you got 5 times the mobs of the level you are. So level 1 should have 5, level 10 should have 50, level 20 should have 100, level 100 should have 500. Okay? Real quick, when you got 600 mobs, first of all, the mobs are important because they hold your weaponry. If you look at this in the aspect of real streets, you can own all the arsenal in the world. You can own guns, you can own bombs, you can own vests and everything, but as one individual, you can't use all that stuff. Not at one time anyway. So you do stuff like pass it on to those who are trained or experienced in using that weaponry, and it's basically applied the same way in Downtown Mafia. So I got 600 people who are able to use the weaponry that I buy. You want to make sure that when you're arming up, your income exceeds what you plan on buying with your upkeep, because that's where your upkeep comes into play with buying arms for arming up. Now, 600 mobs at level 100. At level 100, you're probably a tycoon or getting ready to be a tycoon. So you have roughly 250 million for income per hour. So you have 250 million to use before you go into the red zone. Now the red zone is when you're restricted from buying weaponry and arms for fighting. Alright? You don't want to be in the red zone ever. At all. 600 mobs, you're gonna buy the best items that you can hold and your 600 mob members can hold without hitting that red mark, and also saving space for everything else. For instance, let's say you want the effing mini, all right? At level 100, you're not gonna get 600 of those unless you're buying cash to buy armors and income and things. So you buy the weaponry, you buy the weapons, which is 600 FNLs, and that leaves you with, I don't know, maybe 200 million, 189, 190 million income. Now, mind you, when you're buying these weapons and stuff, you want to also make sure that you have enough pocket money, spending money to do so. This is where those billions came into place that I explained in the last blog. You want to have at least 15 billion. By time you're level 100, you want to keep at least 15 billion on hand to spend when necessary. All right. So you get the FNL. You got about 190 million income left. That leaves you 190 million, basically 80 million a piece for your cars and your armory. When that happens, what you want to do is go on to the next you want to go on to the next category, which is the arms, and do the same thing. In this case, you might want to get 600 EMPs at the level and mob that you are. You feel me? 600 EMPs, 600 FNLs, and that should leave you with another 80 mil for vehicles. Now, mind you, vehicles are a little tricky because when you're looting, remember I explained to you about the blue loot cars and stuff. When you're looting items, one thing's for sure, whether your loot item has upkeep or not, you don't want to resell those. You never want to sell loot items or diamond items at any time at all. When you accumulate these loot items, specifically the blue hard top 66, when you loot those, it's already accounted for when arming up. So let's say you need 600 vehicles to be armed up correctly, and you have 250 blue cars. That means you only need to accumulate 350 more vehicles to meet your 600 item criteria. Once you do that, how the system works is each and every item that you've collected, that you've purchased, has a certain amount of attack points and defense points. And how the system works is it basically calculates all of those points. So when you're fighting, and it doesn't matter the combination of items that you buy and purchase, you want to make sure that the accumulation of those items are more than the accumulation of the items of your opponent. So 600 effing minis, 600 blue cars, 600 EMPs might equal, I don't know, 275 million points, which means anybody who has 274 million points or less is gonna lose to you. Now, there is a range in which, you know, you might have a fight with somebody in which you hit them and then you win. You hit them again and then you lose, and so on and so forth. That's because you guys are actually at the point where your accumulation of points actually meeting the same level, which is good. These are the type of fighters that we want to develop in Downtown Mafia. We want to make sure that the fights are good. Nobody wants to be a punching bag, and after a while, the fighter wants to find somebody to swing back as well. So the punching bags are training, and then you got good fighters out there who can keep your fighting skills and your gameplay up to par. All right? Mobs. When you're mobbing, the best way to mob, first and foremost, is posting your mob code on people's walls. You should never expect someone to post their mob code on your wall or expect them to take your mob code and enter into the Downtown Mafia mob search database and become and become mob mates. It's your job. This is your game. Remember this. Never mind Downtown Mafia. Let's take life into perspective. When you want friends, Facebook, Twitter, real life, interaction, school, work, day-to-day living, it's your job to go out there and present yourself and make yourself your brand. Make people know and want to be a part of who you are. So if I want to be friends with my neighbor, I'm going to greet my neighbor. I'm going to say, my name is Shownuff. I just moved into the neighborhood. And if you guys need anything or you guys want to accumulate a friendship, develop a friendship, that's what I'm here for. And that's basically what you're going to do on Downtown Mafia. You're basically saying, look, this is who I am. At a low level, I'm nobody, but eventually I'll be somebody. Put me down. Maybe you could use me in the future. All right? Never expect somebody to say, oh, that guy right there, Killer G. We'll just say Killer G, for instance. We're going to use that as an example. Killer G look like they putting in work. I'm a post my mob code, or I'm going to get their mob code to add to mine. No, it doesn't work like that. You got to go out there and get what you want. That's the whole objective of this game. And that's basically the objective of living. That's how life is. You got to go out there and get what you want. So, the best way to accumulate mobs is making yourself marketable. Be a brand. Put your name out there. Hi, my name's Shownuff. My mob code is 595-060-919. That's not correct, by the way, so don't try to use that mob code. I'll put my real mob code up during these blogs anyway, so you'll have that. What to do? Once you begin accumulating mobs, then you will attract other people who want to do the same. And that's how your mob tree blossoms. Alright? It goes from a seed to a sprout to a branch to a bark and then a full tree. It got to develop. You got buds, all that, you know what I'm talking about. I don't need to get into details. My profession is not ectocology. I'm a paralegal major, so that's not my field. Anyway, you want to accumulate as many mobs as possible. It's a good concept when you reach a certain level not to mob up with so many people that's your level and higher. Why? Because this game is about competition and strategy. Now, if you're mobbing up with high-ranking players, it's going to be a point of time where confrontation is going to come. It's good to have some, but it's also good to keep a few out there so you know where you stand in the game. It's some people that just will not mob up with me because of their standards of gameplay. They feel as though I'm a strong enough player to where when they want to test the waters of their strength, they'll attack me. And I'll do the same to them or other game players as well. And that's what you want. It's still a respect level given, but on the same note, you don't necessarily have to mob with everybody. In the aspect and words of great gangsters and hustlers and drug dealers out there and about that do the things that they do, every homie ain't your homie. And that's exactly how it is in the game as well. Everybody don't have to be your friend. Everybody don't have to be your mob mate. So when you do that, when you're mobbing up, take into consideration that we have different ways of communication in the game. You may get attacked by a mob member for killing one of their gang members. That's a possibility. You may unmob with somebody to achieve a bounty. That's acceptable as well. However, you want to be responsible and respectable to the fact that these things can happen to you as well. For every strong person, there's a stronger person in the game. So, take into consideration the time that you play on the game, the time that you take building your avatar, the time that other people take doing the same thing. There's some people that literally play around the clock. You cannot compete with around the clock. If you got a job, if you go to school, if you sleep, if you got kids in the household and the foundation to run. So, before I head out and sign off, I'm going to leave you with these words. In Downtown Mafia, stay in your lane. Deal with what you are able to handle and gradually accept more. That's what you want to do. Stay in your lane. Once again, I want to give shout out to the devs for the opportunities that they have given. Shout out to all the fan base, all the respected players, the players who respect me, my gangs, my mobbers, the whole Downtown Mafia family. I see you on the game. It's about time for me to do my attributes and everything and adding on my accounts. So that's what I'm gonna do. Don't forget as well, y'all been neglecting my cookies in my face account. I ask you to please search cookies in my face or go to my Show Enough page to get cookies in my face and drop your mob codes on that wall as well. I do the same, but sometimes there's no way that anybody could get to everybody. So let's all wash each other back. You know, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Mob codes are official. That's cookies in my face, and the gang is the gatekeepers. And of course, this is your boy, Show Enough, signing off. Leader of the Lord, Shogunner, Downtown Mafia. Thanks. I'm out.